Jordan, face the front. Introduction to exponents. Exponents show repeated multiplication. Exponents show repeated multiplication. It's a tiny number located in the top right corner. You've seen exponents before. It should not be a new idea. In the number 2 to the 6th power, what's the exponent? 6. Do you know what the 2 is called? The base. Base and bottom number. They both start with B. That's how I remember it. And the whole thing is called a power. If you're talking about the entire thing, it's called a power. The little tiny number is an exponent, and the big number is the base. Powers have 2 parts. The first part you just told me was the base. Powers have 2 parts. The first part that a power, the whole thing, is made up of is the base. It's the big number. It gets multiplied. The 2 is what's getting multiplied. It's the big number, the base. The 2 is what's the math part of it. What we're going to compute. The base is the big number. It gets multiplied. The second part is the exponent, and it's the little number. What does the little number, what does the exponent tell us? Yep. It tells how many times to multiply the base. So that 2 gets multiplied by itself 6 times. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times. That's it. Have you worked with exponents before? Yeah. Yes. There is, ladies and gentlemen, a difference today. And it is a huge difference that messes us up over and over and over again. So let's make this following chart. I'm making it 5 long or tall. Power and the value, what does it mean? Dakota, please don't take notes in highlighter. Come get a pencil. So 12 to the first power, what does that mean? It's just 12, right? How many 12s are there? There's one. So the answer to 12 to the first power is 12. What would 6 squared, or 6 to the second power, mean? It means 6 times 6, right? Which is 36. What would 0.2 to the third power mean? 0.2 times 0.2 times 0.2. Which one would be easier to type in your calculator? The first one or the second one? The first one. That's why we use exponents. They make it easier. Because when I type that in my calculator, I get 0.008. All right, what does negative 7 to the fourth? And here's the trick. I'm going to show you both of these. On this problem, the exponent of 4 only touches the 7. So that means I'm going to do 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. 4 sevens. Because the 4 only touches the 7. And there's a negative in front. In this problem down here, what does the 5 exponent touch? The parentheses. And what do the parentheses touch? They touch negative 8. There is a difference between having parentheses and having no parentheses. If it touches the parentheses, that means the whole thing repeats. If it just touches the number, that means only the number repeats. And there's a negative out in front. This gives us an answer of negative 2,401. And this gives me an answer of negative 32,768. So I ask you, what is the difference between negative 2 to the fourth and negative 2 to the fourth? Because no matter how I read them, they're the same. Negative 2 to the fourth, negative 2 to the fourth. But there's a difference. It touches different things. So what happens? What does this right here mean? It means 4 2's with a negative in front. What does this mean? What does this mean, Jordan? It means there are 4 negative 2's. What's negative 2 times 2? Negative 4. Negative 4 times 2. Negative 8 times 2. Negative 16. What's negative 2 times negative 2? Positive 4 times negative 2. Negative 8 times negative 2. Positive 16. They give you 2 different answers. You have to be careful if it touches. The exponent belongs to what it touches. That's the new part. That's the part that you have not really had a whole lot of practice with. If it touches the 2, only the 2 repeats. If it touches the parentheses, whatever's inside the parentheses repeats. How would you write this problem? Using exponents. How would you write that problem using exponents? Negative 2's all alone. How many A's are there? So A to the 3rd. And how many B's are there? B to the 4th. Negative 4 times 3 times x times x times x times y times t. How would you write that? Negative 4 times negative 3 times x to the 3rd times y to the 2nd times t to the 1st, right? Do you have to put that 1 there? No. You can keep going. Isn't there more math you can do? Negative 4 times 3. Those are like terms. What's negative 4 times 3? Negative 12. What should I do to my exponent, or my variables? What do you know about variables? How should they be written? What goes first? Alphabetical order. So what should come first? T. Then what? T to the 1st. Then what? X to the 3rd. Then y squared. What if I gave you a math problem like this? What if I said negative 2x to the 3rd plus 4y? And then I said, oh, by the way, x is 2 and y is negative 3. What would you do? How would you do this problem? Negative 2x to the 3rd plus 4y. If x is 2 and y is negative 3, what would you do? What would you do, Triana? Would it be negative 22? Negative 2 times 2 to the 3rd plus 4 times negative 3. Ladies and gentlemen, use a calculator. Do not get a problem wrong because you did the math incorrectly. I love that Triana reminded you, always substitute using parentheses. 2 squared is 8 times negative 2 is negative 16 plus negative 12 is negative 30.